Let's do it. Okay, so welcome everyone to this community spotlight. This series highlights intentional communities from around the world, how they live, what they've learned, and how others can connect. So today I'm speaking with Paul and Aninga from Damanhur, an international community in northern Italy known for its focus on spirituality, sustainability, and collective living. So just a little bit about Damanhur as an introduction. Damanhur is a living laboratory for the future, a federation of spiritual communities, and a worldwide movement that inspires the lives of thousands of people committed to leaving a positive mark on the world. The 600 citizens who live there have created a multilingual society open to exchanges with the world and the different cultures of people. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Paul and Aninga, for doing this call with us. I'm really grateful that you're willing to share your time and wisdom with us. Paul and Aninga, I'd love an introduction by both of you, and I would love to know what your roles are in Damanhur and when you join. Maybe you could start, Paul.
Sure. Well, thank you, Rosanna. And so cool that you've created this group and it's only a few weeks and you have so many people. So what a great service. Thank you. So for me, really important to understand that Aninga is the veteran. I'm the newbie. It was about 2 years ago that I retired from my full-time work and wanted to live in community and explore. And so actually visited three back then. I'm from the United States, live in Wisconsin. I started Earth Haven in North Carolina, then a week there, and then a week in Tamara in Portugal. This was in 2023. And then the 10-day community campus course in Damanhur. So this was in late 2023. And
Hmm.
then last year had an opportunity to go back to Tamara for a month. What do they call it? The peace building community course was wonderful. And then late November of last year through late December, I was in Damanhur for the New Life program. So I'm a good resource for the programs that are or offered, and it's been a wonderful journey. And lastly, I'll say, why Damanhur? Because now, as a result of the New Life program, I've started what's called like the path to citizenship within Damanhur, and I can talk a little bit more about that. But what I love is that it's flexible, and it's not like it means that, oh, you're a citizen, you need to live there full time. That I'll be able to transition over time while still supporting Damanhur and also doing some of their courses. Like one it's called Meditaction. That's their core course that I'll start in April coming up. So it's a wonderful place. What last thing is, why I went to these different communities and why I picked Damanhur. It's the people, and they're solid, they're committed, they're purposeful, they're great listeners, they're grounded. I'm like, and when I had that experience in 2023 when I was there for 10 days, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I just felt like I want to spend time here and part of my life. And then when I was there for the New Life for a month, and then had that same experience, it was like, wow, this is really something. This is it. This is so much different than what's possible in the comfortable life, maybe living a comfortable retired life. And it's like, no, I want to participate and contribute. So
Amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Paul. What about you, Aninga? Tell us when you joined, what your role is in Damanhur, maybe a little bit of the backstory of of
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
experience there.
Mhm. Yes, so I joined Damanhur 8 years ago by living here in the valley in northern Italy, but I was already part of the School of Meditation since other 2 years. And so it's in total, the connection is 10 years, even if living here is 8. And yeah, I started very young being interested about politics and community. And so I created first a community with some of my friends in my city. And after a few years, we got to know Damanhur and we visited all together. And I felt in love when I visited the temples. And so after a few time, I chose to come to live here because I wanted to really dive deep inside the community. Um, and yeah, I love the essence of Damanhur that mix this spiritual aspect with also the political, being active in the daily life. So I was quite immediately involved in political roles into the community. I've been part of the government for a few years, bringing my energy and and new ideas. And now I'm facilitating the New Life program. That is this 1 month
Mhm.
introduction program into the community for people who are interested to come to live to Damanhur.
Amazing.
Uh, to
Hmm.
understand Damanhur from different point of view and also have a moment of insights for the people to really feel if the choice is there and
Right, for
alive.
them. Hmm. Amazing.
Yeah.
And Aninga, maybe you could continue with the question. If you can give us a little bit of a brief history of Damanhur, because I believe the community is 50 years old. How did it begin, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah. Yeah, Damanhur this year turns 50 years old as a community. We will celebrate because it's a long time.
Hmm.
Uh, and we are here in the northern Italy, so we have to consider also the cultural background. Is born here in Piedmont, that is a region in northern Italy, in a moment, so it was the 1975, in which the esoteric scene here, especially in the area of Turin, was really alive. So the founder of
Mm.
Damanhur started to do conferences in the city in Turin about natural therapies and also about paranormal activities that we have, like telepathy, the ability to dream and to do astral travel. These things were really present into the society of Turin. And from there, he gathered few people, the first group of people that then started to spend time with him and to really bring all this knowledge into the practice. They wanted to go to live into a community, and so they started to search for a land, not in the city, but more in nature, in the mountains, and also choosing a very specific and energetic place in which we say the synchronic lines pass. The synchronic lines are like these energetic lines that are all around the planet. And there are some points in the planet in which these lines cross. And when there is a cross, there is a very high energetic point. And usually these points are the points in which temples are built. And in the human history has happened many times in different locations in which sacred places have been built. And so the search was also related to this because Falco, the founder, had this ability to perceive and to really, and he was into this knowledge about these synchronic lines. And so he found also a place related to this energetic connection. And so Damanhur was built here and in this specific place. And it started like more like a group of research than a community. Then it started to become also a community because the community in Damanhur is lived as a tool to really bring into our daily life the spiritual researches that we do and to also grow because the community is also very unique tool and experience of life to change ourselves, to modify ourselves, to see our own challenges. And we say when we live together, we touching each other, we
Mhm.
touch our strongest angles,
Mm.
that parts that we usually don't want to see, but the others you live with, they see it, they see them.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow, beautiful. And there are 600. Sorry, go
When I
ahead.
just jump in, just a couple
Yeah,
things
go
to
ahead.
add. That,
Hmm.
another big focus of Damanhur is art and expression of art. And of course, I encourage you all to learn about the Temples of Humankind if you haven't. And a
Hmm.
really wonderful, what I think is the best summary of that. If you go to and on YouTube, Damanhur movie, and it's 29 minutes long, you'll get a great overview. And the first 10 minutes, you'll see a lot about Damanhur and also the temples. So I encourage that. And the last piece is that another focus is alchemy. Something that I got to do was the level 1 alchemy course. And it was 3 weekends virtual over about 2.5 months. And then there was a 4-day wrap up of the program, which was wonderful. And alchemy for them, it's not necessarily lead to gold. It's doing the lead to gold within ourselves. And it was a wonderful course. So there are a lot of courses. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that.
Interesting, the transmutation and yeah, I'll add a link to that video to the description of the video. The video about the Temples of Humankind, because they're absolutely beautiful to watch. I was just wondering earlier, Aninga, with the 600 people who live there, is it a mix of families or children? How does it work?
It's a mix of everything. Let's say, even now in this moment, we are in a phase also of looking for new citizens, because the starting group, the founders, they were from the 70s. So also we are in a phase of really renew ourselves. But yeah, the population is quite mixed. And till now, mostly Italians, but we have also other nationality, and in the community, more and more people is starting to speak English. So include
Okay. Is English the main language that's spoken in your seminars, or is it Italian?
In the seminars, yes, in English. But in the is mainly
and a real cool story from that happened in 2023 was there for the 10-day community campus course, and the people Formica and Cellestrina that were running it connected me with many different people from the US to get the experience of their experience at Damanhur and their transition and all that. So I think that they wound up doing that just naturally, and that could happen for all, that you do these programs and then you get to talk to others that have done the path.
Yeah, that's great. So for you, Paul, do you speak Italian?
No, it's on my list now.
It's on your list, okay. Of
right,
the many things that you'll be doing in the next couple of
bought
months,
the
I
course.
suppose. Great. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, Paul, so when Damanhur says that they are a federation of communities, can you explain a little bit what that means in practice?
I'll take a crack as long as Aninga tells you the truth. My understanding is, and in practice, they're spread out in this valley, and so going from one end, so to speak, to the other. And so spread out in the valley, and there are 3 central places. And Aninga, maybe you'll kind of fill in on these. There's the Crea, and then Damil, the capital. And then the actual temples of humankind themselves. So, but then people are spread out in different homes. When I was there for the New Life program just in December, I got to stay in this beautiful, it's like a mansion, and it was probably 10 or 15 minutes away from these other central places. And so and then there's the farm, and they can be spread out like 35-minute drive. And then people are managing that as they can, and so it's a federation in that they're connected, but they're physically separate.
Separated, I see.
Tell them the truth.
No, I only add that is called Federation of Communities because actually when we became bigger as a community, we had to still maintain the community level. So this means that when a community becomes too big, it's important to still being able to relate to each other, that the people that have roles can listen to the citizens. And so when you are too big, this can be a risk, because then the decisions are made too far away from you. So we chose to like, let's say, divide, even if we are not really divided, but to divide into 4 main communities that are all here in the valley. with each one with its own characteristics that
Hmm.
are interconnected and with their own government. So this means
Interesting.
that we still keep the numbers low. Each
Hmm.
community has between 80 150
Hmm.
citizens. So in this way we can manage.
Manage it
Uh,
better. Hmm.
and then we have now, since the last year, we have also a fifth community in Japan, because
Oh,
uh,
wow.
this concept of thinking of a federation of communities is not only here for the valley,
Hmm.
but it's for the world. And actually, the Damanhur vision is to have a world full of community, not only the Manurian community, um, but independent communities all over the world with their own culture and structure, but to really
Hmm.
um, live what does it mean to live in community in
Hmm.
different parts of the world.
And just
Mm.
out of curiosity, like especially now that there's even more physical distance, right, between the fifth one, is there a way of exchanging, or are you gathering in a certain way, or is it online? How do I imagine that?
Well, all the people connected to the Damanhur also citizenship who are not living into Damanhur, they are weekly connected to our meetings. We have also
Mm.
a Damanhur online community where people join our meetings. Then, especially for the Japan communities, there are some Damanhurians that sometimes go there to
Mm,
do
beautiful.
courses or simply spend time there. And now, last week, the Japanese group was here, so also
Wow.
to spend time in Damanhur
Beautiful.
here.
Nice. Okay,
And
great.
jumping in, it's interesting
Hmm.
because there's also in the United States, in Boulder, Colorado, there's Damanhur, Colorado, which is not a full-fledged community, so to speak, but it's 4 or 5 people that are offering courses and opportunities to connect with Damanhur right from Boulder. I went to there, I was there twice in 2024, and we'll get to go there this March.
Mm, amazing. So it's coming up just
Yeah.
now. Amazing.
Mm.
I still have a lot of questions, so let's see how far we get with our with the time that we have together. So I know that Damanhur has a very strong spiritual foundation. What is the core vision or purpose that guides life in Damanhur?
Mm. Yeah, the core is to believe that each one of us has a divine spark inside that has to be reawakened. Some of us are more aware of it, some are completely not aware, or completely completely into the matter, forgetting their divine origin. So it's part of our mission to uh, spread again. We say this memory because it's not something that is new. It's something that has been alive in the history of humankind for very long. That the humans have a divine origin, and that's being connected to each other, and also with
Hmm.
different forms, living forms, like also the plants and animals.
Beings, yeah.
We can
Hmm.
find again that unity that once in other civilization, in other population was more alive, and that we lost in the last
Hmm.
centuries due to the capitalism, also to some factors that put us very far away from this knowledge about our divine origin. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, this is let's say the main,
Hmm.
uh, so to connect again with the divine,
Yeah.
to make life sacred again,
Yeah.
and to
So it's not a particular dogma or religion, but it's more like how we're all connected to each other, to nature, and all beings. Is that it?
Yeah, it's not a particular dogma. In fact, when you can visit the Temples of Humankind, you will see also different divinities from different times and different locations and religions, because we think that in different times arrived different divinities or person that then were divinized, that brought that light into that specific space and time. And so all these pieces are part of a puzzle, of a drawing that is useful, that is useful for us in very different ways.
Beautiful.
And still, even if it's not a dogma or not a religion, we have our also esoteric path, our path to the knowledge that is, let's say, it's not a religion, but is connected to some very ancient knowledge. And this was a part that for me was really interesting at the beginning. Before I was part of the Anarya Krishna movement, and I chose to not be part of it because I felt it like as a religion. And in Damanhur, I liked this part of having still a very precise esoteric knowledge, but still being open to different, to different philosophies and also
ideas. Yeah. Interesting.
What comes to mind as you think about, philosophy and the practices within Damanhur is, and for me, it's finding the key is, it's finding the divine within each of us. And then for dogma, and actually Salamandra from Damanhur just put this in the chat, and I was thinking it too, is that there is a dogma, and it's change, and it's accepting change, and they have within Damanhur what's called the School of Life. I'm sorry, no.
The Game of Life.
Thank you. The Game of Life. And it's a group that their job is to make sure we're not all too comfortable in our life, which is easy to do. And they do it for the whole community. And within the New Life program, I won't give anything away, but they put us as a group, there were 9 of us in the group, and they put us in the hands of the 3 Change of Life people. And it was wild, and they were mucking with us, and it was great, like in a really lovely way, like giving us challenges, and they had us for a whole weekend because change keeps life alive, and the Game of Life is a specific group and pillar within Damanhur that is part of the community to help us not get stagnant. And then I just have a few other things that I wrote down that it's all about personal growth there, and the meditation we've mentioned a couple times, and and then you say, well, how long is that course? And then I unfortunately asked a couple times, they're like, no, you're not getting, like it's a lifelong thing. It's like, okay. And change I just mentioned, and it's so purposeful. The people, particularly when you look at the temples and what was created, but now I see a big focus now on indigenous peoples and honoring their knowledge, and having people from all over the world, indigenous peoples, visit Damanhur, and like what a cool thing, and how important. And we talked about connecting with the animal and plant world, and then this goal of increasing their reach and impact as Damanhurians.
Amazing. So how does that, like, in terms of how does that translate into the practical? So what are the values, the guiding principles or traditions that shape how you live together? Do you want to go, Aninga?
Please.
Yeah. That shape how we live together. Well, our daily life is very different because we embrace the paradigm that all the differences are part of a beautiful painting in which all of us have been to be welcome. So in Damanhur, each one of us practically can be part of different areas. And so the spiritualities can be expressed through art, can be expressed through rituals and ceremonies. And we have, for example, the oracle way that is connected more to these magical ritual aspects. And then we have the artists, the people who works with their words, people who are working for Damanhur into making conferences and courses. And also we have the people who through work, so through their with their hands,
Hmm.
practically they live the spirituality. So all these different ways is to really embrace our differences and that we can really live our elements. So one research that people do in Damanhur is what is my soul element that really is connected to my soul, and that others,
Hmm.
when they see me, can recognize, or I express even if I'm doing really different things. It's like that's
Mm.
core part of me, that really deep part of
Mm.
me. So to being able to express this, but not only for me, but also in service to the others and in
Mhm.
service to the community is the perfect balance when you find the benefit for yourself, but also for the others. So this is
Mm. So kind of like your specific, what makes you special, your talent, and your place in the whole.
yes, yes.
I
This is
see.
something uh, that we have in attention in our daily life. Because when we become too much absorbed only by our needs, and this happens also in community,
Hmm.
uh, then we are not connected to the
Mm.
rest of the organism that is the community. And
Hmm.
so I would say the community, the spiritual exercise in community is to recognize we are a body, and
Mm.
I'm the right hand. And so I'm doing
You
this
have a
work.
function, an important task in the body.
Yeah, it's important for the
Hmm.
whole body,
Hmm. I understand. Okay, that's great.
while remembering yourself and nourishing your divine spark, also reflecting this onto the others. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you want to
Following
add something,
on,
Paul?
please. So it's very clear that a value within Damanhur is using the community in our nucleos, which are smaller groups of, it's like, 8 to maybe 14 people that you're having often, meals together and things.
Hmm.
That it's about being mirrors for each other and growing together because you are in community. And so that's really part of the values. And then in terms of rituals, there's one that comes to mind is the oracle ceremony at full moon every month.
Hmm.
And one of the
Hmm.
coolest, it's amazing. I won't give anything away because I didn't get to do that during the community campus, but then did do it in 2024. And it's just fantastic and very moving. And it's every with the full moon going, and it's long and wonderful. And so got to do that. And like there's two cool quick stories I'll tell you. One is I'm at that, and then well, who's at the sound control? Well, it's one of the Nials. So there are two people they're called Nials. They're the governors, so to speak, and you can be voted. You have to be voted every year, and it can be up to 5 years. And he's
Hmm.
like running the sound system, and it's just cool. And then the other story I want to share quick that really I think speaks to the spirit of Damanhur is there was a gentleman when I was there in December that they were honoring because he was retiring and he was an attorney.
Hmm.
And so they had this a serata, they call it, like a community meeting. And then at the end they said, "Hey, stick around. You're gonna have champagne and drinks, to honor him." So he was an
Hmm.
attorney and probably, I don't know, maybe around 80 or so, and worked until then. And um, and I learned that he was the person that when the temples were discovered, like 30 years ago or something, and the authorities were like, "What is this? Do you have a permit?" Well, no. And how
Hmm.
do you work through all that? And there's, of course, not a permit for underground temples. And so he was the one that worked with the authorities that now they're okay and they're open. And
Hmm.
it was really cool to know that. And now he's retiring. So the next morning I'm out and we're doing a kind of like a service project and putting together this like rock wall thing. And we're, doing it our group and I see this older guy and he's like pushing on a shovel and it's like 8:30 in the morning. And it was this gentleman who he just retired and it's 8:30 in the morning and he's like, building the wall with us. It
Hmm.
and it's just one example because that happens all the time because
Hmm.
everyone's really just jumping in.
Hmm. Very collaborative.
Yeah.
Great. Well, there's two things that you mentioned that I kind of just want to double check. So you mentioned nucleos of about 12 people. So I understand there's the federations and then the different groups. And within the different groups, you have smaller groups, nucleos, where you have more intense group time with meals, you said.
Right.
So that's an interesting way of organizing the community. And secondly, you did mention, the Temples of Humankind. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that because a lot of people, as soon as I say, "Oh, I'm gonna have a spotlight call with Damanhur," and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't know about that one," and then it's like they made the Temples of Humankind. It's in Italy. They'll be like, "Oh, I've heard of this." So these are
Mhm.
apparently very famous. And could you tell us a little bit more about the significance in the community and how, in what's their role in daily life in Damanhur?
Yeah, so the tempo is in this was what I was mentioning at the beginning into this it's specifically in this
Yeah.
cross of
Mm.
synchronic lines.
Like an
Uh,
acupuncture point, kind of almost.
yes, so is this
Mm.
high energetic point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the art into the temple, because the temple, all the walls of the temples are painted
Mm.
with completely different paintings from all the vegetation and animals to express the biodiversity of our planet, to sacred symbols that are part of our sacred language. That now we are also seeing with the shamans who are coming to Damanhur in the last years that they recognize, they say,
Mm.
okay, these symbols um,
Beautiful.
uh, to the and all completely full of mirrors in which you reflect yourself from
Mm.
different angles.
Mm.
So
As a
each
divine being
wall
yourself, maybe.
yes, each all is like a travel into yourself, into different part of yourself, and each all is connected also to a specific alchemic element like the water, the earth, the fire, the air. Um, and also to the history of humankind, because there are
Mm-hmm.
some stories that is important to not forget. And so we have a hall called the Hall of the Labyrinth, in which is painted all the history of humankind. And at the end,
Unbelievable.
Mm.
it's, yeah, it's really beautiful. And at the end, there is a not painted part, because this is the future that we still have to write.
Mm. I
And
see.
there are also the windows with different divinities of different
Mm-hmm.
time and space. So the general meaning is to really have a sacred place that can be a living library in which when we go and also all the guests who pass by this place, they are enriched by this knowledge and this
Mm.
energy and are connected also to the synchronic lines. So
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's a place, it's a sacred place, and the use we do is yeah, its existence it's important in itself
Mm-hmm.
because the art for Damanhur has a big spiritual meaning. The artistic expression is the one of the most close to the divine essence. So it's important to have art in our
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And then we celebrate also we use the temples also to celebrate some rituals, also some concerts sometimes, some
Mm-hmm.
artistic
Beautiful.
expression. And
Nice.
yeah, can be used for
Mm-hmm.
very specific and meaningful thing. We don't go
Mm.
just to
Just to hang out.
have, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, interesting. We're almost running out of time, but I still have a couple of questions. Maybe we can just, run through them. I am so interested in hearing more, and there may be a possibility that we have a second call with Dam and her, with another member of your community, Chilestrina. I hope I say the name
That's right.
correctly, and we could deepen some of these topics. So, if you feel that we're rushing through this, and it's obviously a very beautiful, complex community, yeah, for today, we're trying to keep it at 45 minutes, but there might be another opportunity. So, worry not. I wanted to ask, like, what is something that Damanhur does really well, something you're proud of that maybe is particular for Damanhur that might not be the case for other communities?
Mm.
I'll take a crack first. It's
Yeah.
the personal journey, and also knowing that they're working together to make it work the best for all. So they're so open. Like when I got to do the programs, we actually met with the Nials for like 45 minutes an hour, and so you really learn about their their deep interest in doing the best they can as a community and making decisions and communicating and figuring out, well, finances, what's the best way to do things. So all very transparent. And I think that's something that they do well. And for the last
Mm,
topic, I just want to mention that my experience in the temples, they've been like a gift to people and the world. And that it really, the power is there. The messages I get when I'm meditating there, it's different than regular life, so to speak.
mm,
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, for me is the human aspect of solidarity.
mm,
When someone is really in need, you can really count that someone will help you in one way or
mhm.
another. And
A
this is
strong
really,
support system.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
And also
beautiful.
I will say the enthusiasm, where when we have some big mission, you can feel the energy from the
Mm,
6 years old to the 8 years old, and people will gather and join the mission.
nice. So there's a lot of energy for new things and to keep in action. Nice.
And speaking of that, another big project, there's information on the website. I think it's called like the Conference of the Peoples, like an Indigenous Peoples Center that right now is like a cave and like that's kind of it. And they're in the process, they've gotten the permits and now they're looking to raise the money to create an Indigenous Peoples Center. And they have these beautiful drawings and what a
Mm,
wonderful purpose. Like, so they're not,
mhm,
the last thing you do is there's no grass, so to speak, growing under Dominorians. And I
mm,
like that. It's amazing.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. On the other side, is there something that is a big challenge that you're facing in Damanhur?
Yeah, I can start then if you want
Please.
to principle. Yes, for me is the generational passage in this moment.
Hmm.
Since, as I said, the founding generation now has its years.
Mm,
So, and so what is the challenge is to find new ways of living the communities, adapt to these
mm,
times, not losing the original beautiful values. So
hmm.
it's an adaptation that we still hadn't find the right key.
Mm.
Uh,
Is it in several different aspects, or is it like in the way you make decisions, or in the way maybe technology is part of the community, or where is that generational gap, you think?
it's in different aspects. It's in
Mm,
different aspects, and from our history experience, I see that is really needed a wave of new people that can slowly with gentleness but enter into the community and take active roles. So
mm,
with these new visions we can
hmm,
really change. Like it
mm,
happened, there was a very important moment in the 83 that the founder of Damanhur traveled around Italy, and he came back to the community with a lot of new young people
mm,
completely different from the founding group, and said he wanted these new people to bring a change into the community. So I feel that is something similar to what we need now, like this wave of
mm.
new energy.
Fresh
That's
energy.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
And
So, is there a creative solution
may
you
I
found,
build?
or?
Oh,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I just want to jump in that
Hmm.
the intergenerational challenges, it was amazing, and I guess not completely surprising that that was present in Earth Haven in North Carolina in the
Mm.
U.S. They're working through that. We know, and you know, that it's part of Tamara, and even
Hmm.
Tamara's kind of, at least for several months ago, like not accepting people for a while because they need to work that out and not have new people coming in at the time. So it was interesting to see it present in all three.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, this seems to be a common thread. Yeah. Is there something though, like since this is a common challenge, is there something that you think is working in the process that you're having? Is there a tool that you use? Is there something that maybe other communities could learn from you through this process, or are you still so in the midst of it that it's hard to say at this point?
Mm, we are kind in the midst. One of
Mm.
the things that is useful is that new people take active
Yeah.
roles and
Hmm.
the courage to
Yeah.
do it. And in Damanhur, there is space for this. If you're really a will and you are active and propositive, there is space
Mm.
for you to take
Hmm.
roles. Um, and and also we are dealing with methods now like the open forum, for example,
Hmm.
uh, to really deal with all those aspects that are not solved into the community and that
Mm.
need re-elaboration and also a human expression of what we have lived and what we would like to live. And so in this we are in the midst of a process that we are now starting more in depth about some topics that we didn't have the courage to talk about.
Wow, it's very brave. And probably very necessary as well.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of our conversation. Many people might see this or read about you or and want to visit. How can people get involved to get to know Damanhur better?
Sure. And I'll jump in as because I've just been doing it. So I really encourage you. There's many dates for the community campus, 10 days. They do a great job of giving you an overview and experiences in art and domino and learning and even some like almost like personal coaching. So that individual aspect. And then that times four or more is the new life program that Aninga is one of the leaders that I got to go through, and they really do a great job. So I encourage you that, and then again, and Inga, jump in if the last thing that comes to mind is, of course, the website courses that are offered. There's the
Mhm.
Wisdom Lab, and you can pay like a small fee, and then you have it for months to do these different
The
courses.
online courses.
Yeah, online courses. There are some in person, so a lot of
Hmm.
opportunities, and we'd love to see you. I'm going to be there in June, July, and the beginning of August.
Hmm.
Ninga, did I miss anything?
No, that it's possible. Yeah, just to add, it's possible also to come for a very short visit and to see the temples and visit
Hmm.
some of the communities and
There's some
uh,
tours I saw on the website as well that you could join,
yes,
right? As if you
yes.
don't have time to commit to a course or
Mm.
is it I think I also saw something about volunteering for young people, I think up to a certain
Mhm.
age, 35 if I'm not wrong, sometime this summer. So besides the courses and the trajectories, you can also volunteer. So I
Mhm.
think all these options are available on the website. So people are welcome to go ahead and go to damanhur.org, I believe. And I'll also put the link in the description of this video. And yeah, I think let's leave it to this because we're basically running out of time, but I'd still like to give the people the opportunity to ask something if they want. So if someone's listening in uh, on this talk, either you can type in your question or you could just unmute yourself and ask the question to Aninga and Paul. Floor is yours, guys. And if, yeah, you don't have to be shy.
I'm going to move to a different spot, but I'm still listening.
Great. Yeah. If is there anything that I missed from? Oh, go ahead. We have Fernando who wants to ask a question. Great.
Well, we have a few questions here.
Amazing.
Go first. Um, yeah, one is more like about the finances and the money. Like how do you manage the finances as such a big group? What is the main income of money for the community and for the individuals? Yeah, a little bit more about finances.
Yeah. So we have a mixed system because in the community we have people who have their own job. Maybe they arrived that they are already a doctor or working in the marketing, and they continue their own work in their own company, or they work outside of Damanhur in the hospital in the city nearby. Keeping their profession. And some people work for the community inside the central activities of the community, like I do for a part of my time for the New Life program, or who works in agriculture, who works in the temple, who works for the hospitality, so for the courses, for all these parts. And so it's a mixed system, and each one of us is responsible to sustain themselves with their economy, with their work. So it can be both inside or outside or mixed, but each one of us is responsible for this, and then we pay our contribution to the community that is composed by the house in which we live, so the living expenses that we have, the food, the support of the land, the garden, and also we have a part of contribution as a community that we have in common. For example, the school of the kids is a project that is supported by everybody, even if you don't have kids. The temples, some people who have some roles, for example, this one who are elected, they are supported for this year by the community. So we have some small contributions that help to support the community, but each one of us is responsible for their own economy.
Great. Does that answer your question, Fernando? Or maybe you have other questions? You said you had a few, so.
Yeah.
You're muted at the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to know more or less how much that contribution is. And then another question that we had is like, what is the process if somebody's interested in joining Damanhur, and how much does it cost? Because I know that there is this part of it is the New Life program, and that has a price. And then after that, what comes? And like, how do you have to put money as an entrance, or yeah?
And can I start with that one?
Yeah,
is that I can say,
because you just did it, right, Paul?
Exactly. Right. So getting on the citizenship path where it's something that I'm there, I'll be there part-time. And so there is, they call it the matone. It's because I'm coming in as a new citizen, and there is this, unbelievably robust infrastructure in the temples and all this that people have worked for 50 years. So it's like, well, it shouldn't be zero that you just come in and just have that at your fingertips. But well, how expensive should it be? So they ask you to pay over the course of 6 months or 8 months, 1,200 euros, 1,200 to kind of as a I'm joining the community fee, and this is my way to help. And then it's $99 a month just for me to contribute to the community. When I'm not living there, and it's for things like they have a program for elderly that supports them, and then the school, and there's medical services available, and different things again, and I can give you more information, but that's the specific numbers that are in play that I just am paying now, and paying happily because I want to support Damanhur. Aninga, what did I miss?
Yeah, that's when you finish a program like the New Life, you go inside the citizenship path, and it's if you choose it, of course, and it's a path in which at the beginning you pay only the living fees of the house, and then continue the path, you start to pay also this contribution for these common projects that I mentioned. So yeah, and yeah, it's this part.
Maybe we have space for 2 more questions. Fernando, there was a question by someone in the chat. Is it okay if we do her question? Great.
Yeah, sure.
So
Thank you.
amazing, yeah. Patricia asked, what is the school program? What's the main methodology used?
Yeah, the school, we say our Damanhurian methodology is a lot connected to the travel. This is one of the core aspects of our school, and being in nature.
Mm.
So travel is one of the core because the kids are used to, even when they are really small, to go also far away. There was a travel of the school to New York, so in completely different locations to still embrace this openness of life and diversity. And also being in nature. In fact, especially after COVID time, we had also a lot of subscription to our school from other people, not of the community, because of these characteristics of being here and also being respectful to different choices. So,
Does it follow like an official schooling system of Italy or like an international homeschooling system or something around those lines?
the school is in Italy is called familiar school. So we can have our own program, but from the medium school, so it's they need to do the exam at the end of the year in a public school.
Is
So
that like 12 years old or what's the age more or less?
yeah, 11, yeah, from 11.
Okay,
Every year
interesting. So it
exams.
is official then. It's recognized if
Yeah,
in case they would move to a different school in the let's
yeah,
say the common schooling
yes.
system.
And so we have a part of the program that is like fixed by the Italian
The
state,
government, yeah.
and a part of
And
the
the part
program that
that's a bit more
manage.
Damanhurian, let's say. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
I hope
theater.
that answers theater, art, I suppose. It's probably big. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Patricia. Fernando and Diana, did you have another question or are you good? Is someone else interested in asking the last question to Paul and Aninga? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, I think we're ready to wrap it up then. Thank you everyone for joining and for your beautiful questions and your presence and your beautiful faces. Thank you so much, Paul and Aninga, for agreeing to this and for sharing so openly. It was really interesting to hear, and I'm personally very curious to go visit Damanhur, so you'll be hearing from me as well. And yeah, I think this is it. I will put all the links that were mentioned in the description. Both of you are also in the Telegram group. The This Is Also Community Telegram group. This is also where the video will be posted. I'll probably be able to upload it tomorrow. And yeah, this is it for now. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Rosanna.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Aninga.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye.